Welcome back to Property Playbook. We're your hosts, Elena Saradidis.
And Erica Reddy-Choquette.
And today we have Catherine, the founder and CEO of Listed, back with us again, talking all things about this incredible app.
So I think let's touch back because you started, we're like, okay, stop till the mics are on. So you got licensed effectively to really understand the legs of what was needed to bring this app to life.
It's true. Back when you asked me what I had done previously, as an artist, we literally become almost like an anthropologist. And you know, from art projects, like artists were crazy. We'll go to any length to go right to the end. It's not 90% or 98%. It's 100%. Like we want to figure it out, right? And make it the best. Mm-hmm. So the only way to do that, it was so opaque, was to actually become an agent. And to actually become an agent. And then I had all these decisions to make, right? So in the goal of kind of becoming a sponge and soaking it all up, I took all the real estate companies and ranked them by business model. So even that was a very interesting thing, to look at real estate brokerages by business model and see all the different types and see how they work. And there are so many. Right? And it's so interesting. So
we want that spreadsheet.
Yeah. It matters what brokerage you're with.
Oh my goodness. So what kind of happened when you got your license? Did you start transacting in real estate? Did you go through the exams? Like, run us through that actual portion of it.
Well, when you're willing to go to any length, great things happen that you didn't expect, right? So often what happens in startup life is you're going to VCs and you're getting money because how do you start anything? And that's challenging. And especially like female founders make up literally like maybe 2% of the landscape of funders that get founded, or founders that get funded. So one of the great things that happened was I thought, wow, if I actually put in my 10,000 hours and do this, proof that I've learned it will be that I've made money, and then I can take that money and I can put it straight into what I'm building. So fast forward 3 years later and being on the MLS and technology committee at TREB and joining every committee I could and literally working with every client to figure out every part of every deal and how to do it the best and just how to serve them. That had another side benefit of them feeling like, whoa, she just wants to find everything out, serve our interests, give us choice. I never wanted to make a decision for someone. I always wanted to present them absolutely everything so that they could decide, right? It's empowering. You're empowering your clients to make the decision that's best for them. So in a nutshell, I made $500,000. I put it into the app. I funded it myself. I got it going. I got realtors who, when they discovered it and tried it, like, oh my God, we love this. So the retention is practically 100%.
I'm going to pause her for 1 second. I'm going to say the average real estate agent makes $40,000 a year, and she managed to do that in 3 years. So she was not just like a random agent that couldn't make it as an agent and then created an app.
Yeah,
let's just say it as it is.
Yeah, 500 is huge.
She actually was working as an agent.
And then quit to become a poor founder.
Oh my gosh. But it's something to note, because it's not that, like, it's not as simple as she became a real estate agent, it wasn't working out or something wasn't happening, and then she turned into this app. No, the goal was always, how do I create this for the consumer?
Yes.
Yeah, always. It still is. It still is. And I really looking forward, what I think with the discussions about the Department of Justice and what's happening in the US with commissions and everything, always the point to the consumer is to see the value of an agent, because what I discovered in all the research, the same way I ranked business models, is that I found that regular people always made more money on the sell side or buy side when they had a great agent. Mm-hmm. Always. And with less effort and with greater joy. Yeah. They're hanging out with their kids, they're going to their job, and they're making more money. And the key element isn't technology, it's not AI, it's not the latest thing, it's trust. It's trust. Mm-hmm. It is these soft qualities that need to be embedded in technology so that the relationship can always be beginning. Yep. Like, we joke about the property you're gonna get when it's back on the market, but that's a conversation. When you get that, that's gonna be a conversation from the market to you about an action that you're going to want to take. How valuable is that?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think to your point, you were just saying, getting, people with their kids, people with their families, people having the time that they want to have, the more that you can connect them to technology with ease and information that they need to make the biggest transaction they will ever make in their lifetime. And then the agent is still affixed within it. That's kind of the perfect world of everything.
It is. Actually, Kate, this brings up one of the reasons why we have a feature called Guess the Price. So what we were noticing is in the other apps, there are price estimators. I know this is going to stimulate a lot of conversation here. And what we found was happening with these estimators was that, of course, you want to know what it's going to sell for. The challenge is that on the buy side, people were literally losing offers because they thought they were paying too much when the estimation was wrong, or sellers making the wrong choice because they thought their house was or wasn't worth a certain amount. So we came up with a lot of ideas. One was like a aggregation of estimators, like take all the estimators and put them together so at least people could see how wildly on or off they are. And they're wildly on or off because they're not taking the right criteria into effect. You don't take the list price, right? You take months of inventory and things like this that realtors know.
Yeah.
But what we did was we thought if people could guess the price, it would kind of make it fun. They might be doing it anyway. They're walking down the street. They're like, oh, what do you think? Okay, $10 it goes for this. And in doing that, they're following along. As soon as they guess the price, they do get alerted when it sells. So what we found is like kids who love math because it's a game and they learn it, people become mini experts. You don't have to be a price translator of $7.99 to 1.2 anymore because they start to see that everything that's $7.99 sells for 1.1 and everything that is $8.99 is selling for 1.2. And that condos listed at $7.99 you can actually maybe get now for $7.20. Like they start to understand this, and it makes your conversations more intelligent, makes your job easier, contracts the time to a successful deal closing, which allows you to do more business and them to be happier.
But it's so true because that whole price, estimator algorithm, et cetera. And I know that this can get super
The
controversial.
Zestimate is not correct.
But the number of times I have to spend defending why the algorithm is wrong versus
But Erica,
just,
how Sigma says it's worth X, Y, Z.
Right?
Why would I offer more?
And you're like, no, it's not because and then you have to find the data point that's skewing it so heavily. And you end up, to your point, spending so much time.
Do you know what I keep telling people? And this is one of the worst things, in my opinion, that came to real estate is this whole automated estimation of what it potentially is worth. Yeah. And the reason why it's one of the worst things that's happened is because now you've given that number to everyone. Everyone is now benchmarking against the number. So even if it was worth that number, guess what's selling for more money now? Because everyone's going to put in the same number, then everyone's competing, then everyone offers more money, and then the property sells for more than what the Zestimate or the home evaluation said it was going to be worth.
Yeah,
they don't realize that that actually hurts you. It does not help you. An agent's role was literally to show you all the data and to tell you the exact number to go in at that made the most amount of sense.
Yeah.
Now the app is basically saying, here's exactly what it should sell for. This is why it should sell for this number. Or it says, even a disclaimer, I'm not accurate. In the disclaimer, click on it, people. It says I'm not accurate. Stop falling for it. It's not accurate. And they also go along with the agent's pricing as well. So if you overprice something, it will skew the values, but it will also bring it up more than what it's actually worth. So something could be completely overpriced, and they'll say that it's listed above market value, but their estimated value is also higher than what it should actually be. And if someone's underpriced, the same thing. Their estimated value is actually a little bit lower because the app doesn't take into consideration offer nights. No. It doesn't take into consideration a list at aspirational numbers. Stop looking at the estimated number. It's driving me insane.
The other thing too that I find so frustrating with the estimated number is you can do all the legwork to get what is truly the perfect true market price for a property.
Yes.
And all these algorithms aside, you stick it in and it says that it's overpriced by 10%, and you have a seller being like, "What? Why is this doing this?" So I think to your point, to be taking all of that out. I mean, the app is not meant to be spitting out what it should sell for, what it should, or how overpriced or underpriced it is. I mean, that's our job as agents. Our job is to take the market apart and piece the comps together and
Yep.
tell clients what properties are worth. And so I love a tool that allows them to guess, because the number of times I have clients that are like, okay, let's all throw our range out. Like, even if we're not offering on it, let's guess. Let's see where it goes. Because
Yeah.
to your point, it's kind of testing that muscle. And are you understanding the market? And do you realize that $799 is $1 million or $799 is $720 or whatever it might be, depending on if it's
And
a
we
condo,
do it in the
freehold,
showing
et
too.
cetera.
We'll be like,
Yeah.
how much do you think this property's actually going to sell for? And everyone comes up with a number, and we're like, okay, well, we'll pay attention to it and let's see who's closest.
And you get to see why. So you're talking about value constantly.
100%. What I'm curious to know, and I don't know if either of you know this question, but I had it recently. An agent that I was working with, she told me, oh, how do you know the record of the property? I had it expunged. Have you had to deal with that at all? Getting rid of the record of the property, like it was listed previously at a higher number or at a lower number or something. And the agent told me, how do you know that? It was supposed to be erased from record. So it was on House Sigma. And the consumer saw it. My client, who was looking at purchasing that property, saw the record. I saw the record as well. And the agent was like, no, we've expunged it. And little did we know, the day after, it wasn't found, like you couldn't find it anymore.
Yeah.
What happened? How did that happen? Like, once the data's out there, how do you just retract it?
Well, you know what? Accurate, reliable data is the most important thing. And the whole point of the MLS, and it's why some people don't go to MLS, is because you're contributing to the data being open when you list on the MLS or you buy something from the MLS. So the MLS, I won't speak for the MLS on their policies, but basically what they say to third-party providers that they work with is that on a case-by-case basis, if an agent, seller, buyer comes to you and says, remove that, we previously were not allowed to remove it because it was part of the data and we can't touch the data that comes down from the MLS. But I do not know what happened that changed, but supposedly a person who bought a property did not want it on the MLS after they bought it because they didn't want anyone to see what they bought and for how much. And an agent called us. It's the only time it's ever happened, to say, can you remove that from listed? And I said, well, I will have to check with the MLS and everybody else. And then they said it was removed from House Sigma. So how come you can't do it? Anyway, in the end, we did remove it upon request of the consumer. But you can see very quickly, if properties like that were removed, nothing would be reliable. You wouldn't know what something's sold for. Like, people couldn't do their jobs. So how can you participate in the market? Like, she bought it off the MLS, but then she wants it removed now that she's purchased it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only way you would have access to the information if you knew it had transacted, and so then you would go into the land registry system to see the physical parcel and the PIN. But again, you would have to know that information. So,
But I'm not even
tricky
talking about a
one.
property that is sold. I'm talking a property that kept getting relisted, and they expunged the relist from history.
All of them.
They expunged the last 3 relists from history. Isn't that crazy?
That's actually not
It's gone. I'll
allowed
show you it
as
after.
Okay, we'll have to talk
But I
about
do.
this.
Yeah.
I agree with you in the sense of, I think the big thing is, if you want to play in the game of technology and information and you benefit from the information that everybody has access to, it's really hard to turn around and say,
is.
well, I'm taking that information out.
Okay, but I'm gonna play devil's advocate for 30 seconds. Okay. Now, technology is a fantastic thing. You know, I'm all for it. Half my clients are in tech. It's a thing. I'm all for the tech. But I really find it uncomfortable if someone not in real estate has such easy access to what I bought my house for, or what you bought your house for, or what my friend bought their house for. Don't you find it a little off-putting that, like, your friend could be coming to your house for dinner and been like, oh, they bought it for this amount of money. And they can do it. And it's so easy. It's not as hard as, let me call the agent. Let me find out what it's sold for. Let me do this. It's so easy to find out what people paid for their home.
It is.
That it's almost a little bit uncomfortable. And that's solely coming from that perspective is again, I'm an agent. I'm going to look it up anyway. Like, if you're inviting me over for pie, like, I know. Thanksgiving time, I know what you bought your house for. I know. Odds are I sold it to you, so I really know. But when we have conversations with people, and it's human nature. I'm going to their house. Oh my God, what a nice house. I wonder how much they bought it for.
I'm sure if you asked just about anybody to be truthfully honest and transparent about how many times they leave someone's house
And they look it up?
jump into an app and they look up what they paid for it. Almost everyone would say
But
that they
isn't
do.
that a little uncomfortable? Like if you were the
is.
person that you bought that house and then you're like, now everyone knows how much I paid.
For sure. But
And
then
it was so easy for them to get to what I paid.
yes, but the flip is when that person goes to pay the price for the house, they absolutely need your sale and your sale and your sale and your sale to figure out what they should pay for the house. So yes, I think it's a little bit uncomfortable, sure, that you can be like, great, everyone sitting at my dinner table knows what I paid for the house, when I paid for it, exactly what decorating changes I made or didn't make, et cetera, et cetera. But thank goodness I had all the data, because otherwise what would I have done and how would I have known what to pay?
You're right. But back in the day, it was just, and this sounds again like we're playing devil's advocate. The agents all had access to this. If you were working with an agent, they knew exactly what everyone sold for. It wasn't so easy to know exactly what
Absolutely.
someone bought their house for.
But taking the gatekeeper out of the game in that sense is necessary.
You're right, to give everyone transparency on what's currently happening in the market. I think about it on the other side, and I think about the person pulling out of their driveway and looking up what the person just paid for their house. And this is definitely a car conversation. No one can lie to me and tell me they left their friend's house and they didn't look it up.
For sure. Of course they did.
Okay, I think here, whether we are back when actually the MLS used to arrive in paper books
form.
and,
Yeah.
if you got to the office early at 7 o'clock, supposedly you could flip through it or take it with you or do whatever. You have to leave the desk and be up on the market. So it was an advantage. So information has always been an advantage. So all I would say on these two sides of the coin is that either everyone gets it or no one gets it. But the problem is that it seeps out in little, this is the problem with the exclusive and coming soon listings,
Yes.
right? As soon as there is a law, which I fully agree with, that all listings should go to the MLS because that is the source of truth for real estate data and should be. And when you have these private real estate networks and people that aren't part of that, it makes it fractured and really difficult. And, like a club, and if you're not in this club, and it just hurts consumers.
Yeah.
So,
Or if you're not driving down the road at the
And you just-
exact time of day when the coming soon sign's up for the 24 hours or the 40, it becomes very,
yeah. So we actually created this exclusive and coming soon network that has the rules of the Realtor Cooperation Policy baked into it. Yes, it can be on up more than 3 days because it's a realtor-only network that's done within your brokerage or a one-to-one fashion. And it actually allows you to get exposure from the entire market, which comes in the form of people who have saved searches that match your listing. And then you as the listing agent have what was the point of an exclusive listing, the power to say who you're going to share it with for privacy reasons or whatever. And then we have an anonymized data feed where we give it back to the MLS if they want it for participating MLSs so that they always remain the source of truth. So I really think as realtors, it is so important that you basically decide the future and the fairness for the best interests of your clients to be ensuring that the real estate board is connected to technologies that are diverse and inclusive and open various options and not just have a single vendor that they connect to so that you can choose for yourselves the services that your clients want. Otherwise, literally, the real estate data is in peril.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm so shocked that FANG, like Facebook, Amazon, hasn't come up with something before now.
We're stuck in the Stone Age. Like
We
real estate
really
as
are.
an industry has been stuck in the Stone Age. I remember when I first got into real estate and I was using the original we just switched systems, by the way. That's how it took them 6 years
Oh
since
my
I got into
gosh.
the industry for them to switch their system.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, in my opinion, it still has some problems, but we'll talk about that at a different episode. But I remember looking at this and being like, how has real estate been around since the beginning of time? Like, people always needed to live somewhere. Like, things are happening. And this system be so stuck in the Stone Age that consumers, we can't use it fully. Consumers can't use it fully. It has a bunch of glitches. Like, there's always problems. I remember setting up my tech clients on, I forget what it was called. What was it called? Collab?
Oh, yeah.
Was it called Collab?
What, when Collab came in? Or
No,
like
before.
the prospect matches?
Before.
Oh.
No, still like a version of Collab, but So if you don't know what we're talking about, basically we could connect you to a system like Listed, but through the MLS. And I remember consumers of mine, like clients that are in the tech industry being like, this sucks. And I'm like, I'm sorry, we're stuck in the Stone Age. And this all happened before Listed even came to light, which like, it was just, that's what was available. So that's what we used.
I really want to get your opinions on this then, okay? Because I want to tell you an answer that I don't know if you know.
Okay.
Okay. Imagine if you're told that the reason the real estate board doesn't have great technology is because large broker members who spend a lot of money on making advantageous technology for their own agents don't particularly want an equalizing, amazing real estate app for all agents to use with their clients.
I have the solution.
Tell me.
Charge agents
Listed.
more money. No. Increase our fees. And I know agents are gonna like be like, oh my God, like Elena, stop talking right now. But like increase our fees. There's over 70,000 real estate agents licensed with the Toronto Real Estate Board. Increase the fees, make the system more user-friendly, make the technology way more advanced. That way we can help our clients more effectively. But increase the fees.
But see,
Like
because the real estate board is owned by realtor members with more power can actually have sway to say, we don't want that. It's not about money. It's actually, again, about access over innovation. And it's over who gets what and does what. Right now, you should be able to use, along with the app that you currently have, which we integrate with, so it's seamless for you because we work with the real estate, organized real estate, but you should be able to use as a front end, included in your dues, Listed. Any MLS in Canada should be able to offer Listed
100%.
to
Yeah.
all their members.
Yeah.
And why can't they?
That should be a goal, in my opinion. Because I really think, I mean, I can remember when I would need to print the listings to go on showings and bring printouts because that
still do.
I mean, I like them. I do. But like in the sense you had no choice. There was no other way to get the information but have your printout with you. And then, you know, a client would be like, well, what do you think we should do? I'll have to go back to the office to look at my computer. Like it was like, and then I'm going to have to use my fax machine. I mean, it was in like the
You know, I'm doing a transaction now that they asked me about fax numbers.
Oh, please.
Sorry,
Don't get
whole
me
different
started.
conversation. But yeah, apparently faxes are still a thing in real estate.
What?
Isn't
Really
that
shouldn't be.
wild?
Yeah, no.
I
mean,
literally had to go up to front desk and be like, do we have a fax number?
I mean, this goes back to Catherine being like, I had to page. I mean, when you say page in an industry today, like
1982.
it's just crazy. But I really think what I love about Listed is it truly is. It is all about getting the information to the consumer. It is keeping a connection with the real estate agent, which I think we all know and agree is so important. But it's putting the information at the fingertips of the consumer, which for me matters most.
Yeah, it's about ease and efficiency. It's not about technology. I always think about Listed as a conversation between two people that is basically through these connection points of changes in the market, so you know what the conversation is going to be about, with the overall effect of strengthening the bond and the relationship between the agent and the clients, which ultimately, the stronger that bond is, the better you know them, the better you can argue on their behalf and negotiate for what matters to them.
Well, it also gives them the ability to be able to see that you're telling them the truth when you say, there's
Yes.
nothing better on the market for you.
Absolutely.
Look, you have the ability to look, we're never going to withhold information for you.
Yeah.
If there was something better, I'd show it to you. Why wouldn't I do that?
Yeah.
If there's something you think is better, show it to me and I'll either show it to you or explain why it doesn't fit for you.
Or I think it's worth this
Yes.
much money and here's why and here's all the comps. They don't have to think, well, are there maybe 2 or 3 comparables that they didn't include? Or maybe there is a comparable that they're curious on and they go, okay, well, Catherine or Elena, why didn't you include this? That's okay. Those are conversations you want to be able to have. And you can say,
Exactly.
here's why I didn't include it, but I'm so glad you flagged it. It's because there's nothing that we're hiding.
Yeah.
So once again, it's Elena Saradidis.
And Erica Reddy-Choquette.
And this was Property Playbook. If you like content like this, make sure to like, follow, and subscribe.